Let's give all the streaming platforms a moment to like catch up and recognize that I'm actually streaming. Because I've noticed something. Well, I guess I'll get into that in a moment. Meanwhile, let's look on Twitch. See if everything is okay. Knowing how this works at this point, my hunch is gonna tell me that it will be a no. That's okay. We'll fix it. See here. Yeah, okay. It's not Dwarf Romantic. I did set it to Rimworld today. Stop. God damn it. There we go. Interestingly, it did update the tags today. And the go live notification is the correct thing. It's just the title is wrong. But that might be might be me having done something incorrectly. I think I copied over the wrong thing. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so today is a Friday, right? Yes, it is a Friday today, which means that, well, normally I would be playing Rimworld, but given the situation and all the circumstances throughout the last month's time, whoa, sorry, I just ate. Given all the circumstances and everything through the last month's time, that is not exactly what we'll be doing. I got a few things that we can do, but as you can see, it's a little bit different today. You can actually see my desktop. Wow, I know, I'm being very risky. Because I've got a few things that I need to take care of, and one of them is Rimworld modding related. But I do need to also look at some other stuffs. Namely, where did I put it again? Here. Right, yes. Because I want to add another panel onto Twitch. So let's start by making one of those. It shouldn't take awfully long to do. Oh, and also let me actually start Streamraiders. Put that off to the side. Actually, let me just minimize it like I usually do. Meanwhile, let's go into Twitch. Oh, and also, yes, Steam. Actually, let me just look up something here. Because I do have two monitors, as you probably imagine. There we go. Okay, so Steam brand, I guess that's what I'm looking for. See if they have anything, because I want to add a Steam panel onto my Twitch page. For those that might be curious for that kind of stuff. All this is in Danish, obviously. Like it usually is. I prefer my web pages to be in English. I hate it when web pages do this, where it's like, language. Like just, oh. I installed my system in English for a reason. Anyways. Let's see if they've got anything interesting on here. General guidelines. Steam logo may not be used in any manner that might imply that any non-Valve materials are sponsored, endorsed, licensed by, or affiliated with Valve. Steam trademark may not be displayed as primary or prominent features on any non-Valve materials. It's only approved Valve artwork for the logo. Okay. Well, Valve approved artwork for the logo. I see. Steam branding guidelines, documentation, logos for Steam. Okay, this is what I was looking for. No, this was not what I was looking for. Never mind. No, this is the agreement. I want the assets, god damn it. Early access, Steam Workshop branding guidelines. You're welcome to use Steam Workshop branding when promoting your workshop. Click here to download workshop branding assets. Oh, this might be something. Wallpaper and branding lodge. Let's see what it is. Huh. I don't think this is necessarily what I was looking for. Okay, so this is the workshop thing. I want the Valve logo. What do we have here? Ah, interesting. This is a workshop branding, but that's not. Oh. Hello. So like, okay, I see. So this is like if you're. So you could like use this template for some things. Demo. And mod. This is like, but this is like if you want to do like a really large official thing. Not exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, there was that wallpaper, but that's, yeah, as expected. Okay. No. Do I want to start this already? We can try and see if people pop in, because the next map is a pretty hard one. So we'll maybe just fail this. Now, I've learned that we don't have to worry about anything else in the anthills and stuff. These stones only spawn enemies when they're broken, so. Put a Centurion up there. Then we'll see if people are ready to get started on this, or if I need to wait a little bit still. So hard to tell. Anyway, so if that's not what I'm looking for, printed materials example, Steam Workshop branding, Steamworks boxed game quick start guide. Might be because it's like the wrong area. What about Valve brand? What about branding? Drop by the lurk. Unfortunately, gotta go do some errands. Alright, Greg. Thanks for the lurk anyway. Good luck on your errands, and maybe we'll see each other later. I'm also just starting out, so no worries. What about Valve group branding? Is this? What is this? This is not. This is something different. Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be anything else. SteamGames.com. Yeah, this is just leading me to this thing. Oh, okay. Here we have some stuff. Okay, so it was in here. Okay. So they do have like a whole document with, I assume they're going to be hyperlinks, but we'll see. So what do we have here? That's page 3, right? Click here to save to your computer. Sure. Steam or Valve or whatever. Like that's how that works. Oh, I found that document in here, so I wonder if that thing that I pulled up through Google is the same. It does seem like it would be. Where was it again? Download workshop writing assets. No. No. This is early access logos. So it would just be all the way up here somewhere, you would think. Promise and logos, click here to download. There it was. That little cheeky bastard. But I think this is going to be the same deal. Oh, maybe not. No, this is not the same document. These are different. Okay. Oh. Adobe Illustrator assets. I wonder if I can open those in Krita. You're streaming late, I might be back. Yeah, I've kind of got that planned for me at least. So. Oof, we've got some stuff here. Steam branding guidelines, no. Steam symbol and logo. Because like I could go onto Google and just get like any old Steam logo, but chances are it's always going to be like a bit of a mixed bag where the source comes from. Steam logo lookups. Isn't this just going to give me the same thing? Or lockups, not lookups. Symbol only. So how would you use these? Like copy and paste? I mean, I can copy and paste them, I think. Let's reset the zoom though. Try and do a direct download on this sucker. Is again a PDF, but can I like, how would you, how's this supposed to be used? Because I can obviously print it, but oh yeah, it's because, oh wait, you can open PDFs in Photoshop. I wonder if you can do that with Krita. I don't think I've ever tried. I guess we would just say open with. Then let's see, yeah, it's Adobe Photoshop. But I've kind of switched over to Krita. Okay, so Krita seems to be able to do it. And what page was it again? I guess it doesn't really matter because I just need the Valve logo. Let's just do number 1. Nice. Well, only problem is that this is on a white page. Hi, Nat. Hello there. I see you. I have started up Streamraiders if you're interested in joining that. I actually need to make a Streamraiders command too. I don't think I have one yet. Did I? Oh, I actually have. Never mind. I just don't have the shorthand version for it. I'm just doing a bit of stream maintenance at the moment, but I have planned to play later. But yeah, what the hell am I supposed to do this? What if you need it on a transparent background, which I do? Is it because, I mean, they're PDFs, so what the hell? Valve. Like at this point, I'm so tempted to just go and rip one off from the internet, even though that would be bad optics. I mean, everyone's doing it, but you know, just because everyone does it doesn't mean that you should do it yourself. AI, I wonder. Because that's Adobe Illustrator documents. I wonder if that can be opened with Krita as well. So they have support in Krita to just open up straight up PSDs in the first place. I wonder if it can also do this. Just reads it as a PDF, it seems. Yep. Right. Wait. Yeah, this is the document. Yeah, it just reads it as a PDF. Well, that sucks, especially because the Valve logo includes a white bit, so even if I use like a God fucking damn it. Like, even if I were to use a magic selection tool, it would remove the inner parts of it as well. So why? Just why would they? Like, they clearly had someone spend a lot of time on the whole branding section. Yeah, this is no good. But yeah, why spend a fuck ton of time on this? And money, nonetheless. And then not do a proper job. Well, let's see if we can't work with this at least. So let's see. What options do I have? Because I haven't used the magic wand tool much in Krita, so I don't know what options you have to make the masking or the selection a little bit better. This is for painting stuff. Okay, you know what? Let's look it up. That is probably the fastest way to figure this out. Magic wand tool. Contiguous selection tool. Is that the same? Yes, it is. Represented by a magic wand allows you to make selections, yada yada, hotkeys and sticky keys. Hovering over selection allows you to move it. Oh, right. Of course, it would be in tool options, right? In here. Anti-aliasing. So I guess I would have to tweak with the fuzziness and stuff, just like in Photoshop. Controls whether or not the contiguous selection sees another color as a border. Grow shrink selection, feathering. Usually is what you would do, right? Sometimes to like mixed results. Controls whether or not the contiguous selection sees another color as a border. So if I go to 40, then the edge is still there, but it's less visible. Okay, what if we go to 100? And then it just selects the whole thing. Okay, so it's like a percentage, just like in Photoshop, I guess. If I take it too high, it sort of rips away too much of the color. What if we do not do anti-aliasing then? Because that's, yeah, then it just does what I expected it to. Okay, so what if we tune it down a little bit on the selection? Okay, this is useful or usable. Question is, do I want to do just a little bit more than that? Because the main important part is the shape. I can fix up the coloring afterwards by just a simple filtering, blending option layer thing. Because it does look a little bit jagged now, but we can fix that by just using some cheeky stuff here. Not inner glow, you dumbass. Let's do color overlay. And actually, let's figure out what color they used here, because it's probably, yeah, it's not entirely black as I expected. Which is another thing, like if you found it just by a Google search, you would most likely find a version of this which is not the correct color. It might even have like a gradient or something to it, which is what I don't want. Okay, so this just gives us the basic shape, but now it's looking all jagged because there's no like outer edge feathering or whatever you want to call it. But we can sort of reintroduce that, I would say. Because it's only supposed to be like a few pixels. Question is if it's gonna look good or not. because it does look a little bit choppy in places. You know, it doesn't look as clean, which has me a bit worried. Oh, right. And this is by default linear dodge. There we go. What if we do one? Yeah, it looks very jagged as compared to the original, I would say. Let's actually pop that in here just to make a comparison. Because we want to have it look like this, which, due to the nature of using a selection tool, you know, you don't get that. I could recreate the whole thing from scratch, but then that doesn't seem right either. But why is there like no transparency on this shit? Like, let's give you a bunch of branding guidelines, but let's also not give you proper assets to actually work with. Because this is like what I have. Click here to download the following Adobe Illustrator AI assets. So maybe that is the problem, is because I don't have Adobe Illustrator. So if you don't have Adobe Illustrator, you can't use this, I guess. Is there an online converter? To Krita? No way to import vector files from, yeah. So that's why it's a bunch of vector shit. Believe Krita can import SVG files. You can try exporting your, yeah, that's not really an option. So that kind of doesn't really work. Well, that doesn't really leave me with many options then, does it? Guess we'll just have to make our own vector shape, which I kind of didn't want to do. Or let's see if there's something on Google first. Logo. Because a PNG is better than this. A vector shape would be nice because you can scale it at any size, but you know, it's just for a freaking stream panel anyway. Yeah, we do want that. God damn it. Why do you get all this other, like this versus useless? Okay, what else can we see? Vector, maybe? It's better. Because we're looking for this, but without the gradient. Could also just rip this and like put it on there. Because that would be transformative, so it should be okay. Because that's the other thing, like, if someone else made this, and I, you know, use it for my own stuff on my page, I don't want to, like, go against... oh, this would maybe work as well. I don't know if it will show up correctly, though. Or if it'll be a good idea to use a black one, because it will be black on black background. A little bit of a problem with the vanilla like theme logo, but like this does look 100% pure black, so there's also 500 by 500, which is okay. Let's try and download it. See if we can use it. I am a human. I think that's a train. That looks like a train. That's a bus. That looks like a train. Unsure if that's a train. It looks like a train, like an old school train from the top. How to teach your AI to do image recognition, people. Make something like that. I don't know if it's true. I've just overheard that that's like kind of what it's used for. Yeah, open new document, there we go. Okay. So here we have our Valve logo, whoops. But this is not the right color, because this is the real color that the Valve logo is supposed to be. Can we just be like, I wonder, use the fill tool. I probably don't need to preserve alpha, but let's just do that for good measure's sake. Ah, it looks more correct. And then we chuck that in here. Actually, let's do the Rimworld one I have instead as a baseline. Given how that's a round shape, it'll be easier to match the size of these. It's not the, cleanest job, but it's okay. As long as it does what it's supposed to be. I mean, most people will not, most likely not even care about the authentic color and everything. But it does at least make it stand out from the background a little bit better. Doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. Now, I am left with something slightly ugly though, which is these tips here, because I didn't downsize it like to the correct aspect ratio. We'll just do like a naughty fix there. And then we just need to change this to Steam, which opens up this on my second monitor. This is like a text write-in box. Close that. Save the document, and then we can export to PNG and move on to the next thing. PNG, there. Yeah, it looks recognizable from a distance, I would say. Can't remember, I don't think. For LinkedIn, YouTube, etc., I just use their brand assets for that kind of stuff, which is why they're not of that gold color. I was tempted to make all the icons for the panels colors match like the channel page and stuff, but I opted against it because where are we even there? I opted against it because of the whole way that branding works, and also it makes them stand out a little bit more. Let's see here. I have started getting a lot of panels now though. Theme streaming panel. Doesn't really matter what the name is because I don't store them locally anyway. Is that another one of those? Mitch, get that over there. So Greg, what are you up to today, since you say you've got some errands and stuff? Also, it'll be nice having your chat here twice. It's okay though. Then I wonder, because let's see, because I could just link the image directly to my Steam, but I have started using Bitly in order to also keep some kind of analytics on the thing. Nice. Yeah, that does definitely sort of, what do you call it, shine through the fact that it's not completely black. To be fair, the even though it's hard to notice, but the diamond shape black color is actually a gradient that goes from a slightly less black gray color to a very dark one. So even if it had been completely black, it might still have shown the outer edges to some degree. Anyways, Bitly. I don't know if there's, I don't think there's any sensitive information on there, but I'll just put it on the second screen. Gotta go buy some stuff for the weekend. Also gotta pick up a package for your roomie, Sam. You might remember him from Meteorology. Sam. I don't think so, mate. Gonna charge your phone a bit before you go. Because I've been at your place once for your birthday party, and I don't remember anyone named Sam. So assuming that you would still be living with the same people as you did back then, of course. Okay. Okay. I'll look at that later just because I don't want to like like dox your friend just for good measure. Since I am streaming my desktop directly. I was trying to figure out a better way to do it with Streamlabs OBS, but I don't think there is any good way to do it. Okay, I want to create another bit.ly link. Here's the long URL. Let's see, what do we call this? bit.ly/ then we can do Steam Dragon. See if that's available. No. Steam Dragon King. That works. And it's not really because the URL gets that much shorter or easier to remember, but it does allow me to get some analytics on the things in the long run, if that ever were to become relevant. Which, you know, might as well. It basically just allows me to see how many, like who goes through the panels and stuff, like how many, if it actually has an effect. And then I should probably do that as a, how did you do that again? It was like square brackets, right? So if I put that in square brackets and then put the URL in here, there we go, and then it becomes a hyperlink. Right, yes. Then for good measure, let's just put a capital S in Steam because that's kind of what it is. And then where do we want it? Because this might be a little bit more interesting than some of the other things. Let's put it up here. And there. Because this, obviously, that's one thing with the panels is a kind of weird thing where If you have like a 2K monitor, they get spread out like crazy, but if you have a 1080p monitor, it becomes more squished together and all the panels get jumbled. So you can never really truly align them in like a consistent way. You just have to like order them in priority, but whatever. So this is the first thing I wanted to do today. So making sure that it actually works. No, that does not work. Why does that not work? bit.ly Steam community. It does. Okay. Let's try refreshing the page. Oh, right. I know why. It's because yeah, okay. You'll notice that I'm not even logged in at the moment. Swoops, that's why. Oh my god. I can't even log into Twitch now because it asks me to reset the password. The URL works. It's a bit.ly link. Also, you can't post links in chat. Give me a moment. Because I have to reset the password for my Twitch account. Well, we've got Streamraiders at least. Hopefully, I don't think we can do this necessarily because that's a lot of enemies for just 6 of us. Oh, I see Grim and Moo's in here. But, oh well. So, Twitch. Can't remember freaking password. It does seem like we lost. Have to do better than that, mates. We'll try again though. Now there's also like way less ants for us to deal with, so now we can most likely do it already. There we go. No reason to minimize that for the time being. Now, about that password reset. They're serious. I hate it when fucking platforms require you to like make up insanely complicated passwords for no reason. It's like, ooh, it's too weak. So now I just have to make up a password the next time I need to log into Twitch. I'll forget. So now I just have to repeatedly reset my password. That's also not clever. Because it doesn't matter what kind of symbols you use, if it's capital letters. Oh, shut the fuck up. Or whatever. It just matters how many symbols you have. Which is something I also really don't like. It's like, on some platforms they require you to like use special signs, a capital letter, at least a number, and like small letters and everything. It's like, why make so complicated passwords when it's the length that matters? Besides, I also, for Twitch for instance, I already have two-step authentication, so like god damn it. Okay, I am at least into my freaking Twitch account again. So now Steam. Okay, so I see what you mean. Okay, so there must be something I put in incorrectly, I guess. Is it because I need to have the HTTP in front? Might be. I did just copy it off of Bitly, so yeah. Yeah, so that's just because I copied it off Bitly. Let's try it now. There we go. Coolio. Now the question is if I should link it directly to the games tab. I mean, it doesn't make much of a difference, but it's like the main reason why I wanted to put it up there. So that works now. Let's just nuke everything. Start with a fresh browser window. Because the next thing I need to look at is Rimworld related. One of my mods that I'm working on. There's nothing overly complicated or crazy, but it needs to be done anyway before I forget it. Don't need this. Close all this junk down. And then it would be this one. Okay. And this is part of where like it would be nice to have a thing where it automatically sort of switches to my active window, but it seems like in order to do that I would need to use the regular OBS, which has a plugin extension you can use instead. Anyways, so what I need to be looking at is Vulcanite here, which is a fantasy-based metal as well as Cryolium. Because they have something called cold and heat insulation. And I need to bump this up by a good amount. Because I wasn't unsure on what these stats meant for the in-game situation, but they basically just mean how many temperature degrees in Celsius a piece of clothing article will, or yeah, any item made out of this material will grant your pawn. So if I set this to 12, it's going to give your pawn a 12-degree cold insulation buff in Celsius, at least. I wonder if, I guess it would be the same in Fahrenheit, wouldn't it? Because it's just, you know. That was you. I just clicked on that by pure, what do you call it? Instinct. But yeah, 12 degrees buff compared to some of the other things in the game isn't really that high. I think for like some woolly stuffs and such, it's much higher. Whoa, what? Hello chat, are you here? Did I just cut out? Because I just saw the entire stream chat refresh. And I didn't do anything. What the fuck? It says I'm still live. Yeah, I didn't do a cut either on the stream, so that's kind of weird. Oh well, did you hear what I said at least? Or will I need to repeat that? Okay. Vulcanite. Okay. Like, do I need to repeat it or are you good? Also, I need to actually close the windows. I'll be right back. Because it was getting a little bit cold, but I needed to get some fresh air in. Okay, so if we go to Rimworld, we need the regular game. Definitions. Ooh, what would that be under? Items? Believe. It's not raw plant animal products, maybe? Let's see, what do we have here? Milk. Eggs. Nope, no leather. So that just tells me that this is probably not the right place. Okay, what else do we have? Stuff leather. Maybe that will work. Okay, so heat insulation is what I need to look for. Right, so we can see here, this is the base for any leather. So as a minimum, if they don't have anything specified, they will inherit these stats here, which is a 16-degree bonus to both heat and cold insulation. Right. This is leather base and it's inheriting from resource base. And then we have basic leathers here. So plain leather, for instance, inherits from leather base. As we can see, no cold or heat insulation specified. So only in places where it needs to override it, they're specified. So like wolf skin gives a, so it basically means that we get like 12 heat insulation and 24 cold insulation. All right, Greg, see you around. I will be streaming for a while, so you will be good, I think. Unless you take like 6 hours to go and do whatever you need to do. So, check you later. Yeah, I want to go in here just to see what we have in terms of vanilla insulations. Guinea pig fur, for instance, or leather. Yeah, guinea pig fur has 38, which is like way beyond 12. On the other hand, some of these things like human leather is at around 12. But this is magical metals, and some items like that can usually, most items that can be made out of metal cannot be made out of furs and or leathers, which means that the normal trade-off is that you get higher defensive stats, but survivability is lowered because the heat and cold insulation stats on all the other metals that you can see in this spreadsheet I've got made here don't really amount to much. Like heat insulation is 0 on practically all the vanilla things, well, apart from wood, but you know, and even for modded stuff it's not really the case. Now there is a mod that gets around that, which is called oh, what's it called again? It's textile something. I think it's textile. No, weave. Simple material weaves. This one. It's a pretty cool one. It basically just allows you to do like gold weave, which is made out of, well, as you can sort of guess, gold and I believe some other things. I don't actually remember if it only uses the gold to turn it into weave, because I never really ended up using this to produce these materials. But the idea is that you can make a weave out of the vanilla materials and then even some modded ones, so that you can use them for clothing articles. And I was contemplating that eventually would be interesting. Not interesting, but I think at some point I would like to try and make my own compatibility patch if I can for simple material weave, just because this list of materials you see from here and downwards, all these are 3 different mods that I want to introduce into Rimworld, and as such it would take quite a lot of time to do for the modder and for this mod, that is. And as you can see, there's not many things that are supported, like bone scale, requires rim madness of bones, alpha animals, aluminum corregium. I don't know where these 2 come from. I know about sky steel and bone scale, which that tells me that it probably won't be compatible with the bones added through medieval overhaul, which is a bit unfortunate, because it's basically the same thing. It's just medieval overhaul adds so many other things in there that you know, you basically don't want to use the Rim of Madness bones things, because I tried it and it basically makes it so that whenever you butcher animals, they drop 2 kinds of bones, animal fat I believe, and then the meat. So I don't want to have 2 types of bones in there. But the general idea was to add like some kind of magically themed semi-original ores with like relatively easy to understand properties in some cases. But as a beginning point, I just wanted some more color varieties when it came to metal in the game, which is one of the main reasons I used Fantasy Metals Reforged, for instance, because it adds a bit of color variety. You can use the materials expanded metals as well, which also consequently makes the game much harder, but you know, you don't really get that strong color sort of rainbow palette that you can work with. You're still very limited to some very dark colors in like Fantasy Metals Reforged, for instance. So I wanted to make my own, and that's what we got here. And then, for instance, Cryolium and Vulcanite are supposed to be a hot and cold metal respectively, like themed around like, you know, magical properties or whatever you want to call it, meaning that the main use for these would be for heat and cold insulation purposes. But to balance it out with the increased like the similar stats that you would normally require from leathers, they only do one of the temperatures well, and then it provides a negative debuff for the opposing like sort of insulation. So it does seem like some of the like Frumbo fur is like probably the best vanilla one, which is around where I should probably sort of base my metals, because they're quite rare, or supposed to be quite rare. You know, it's a tweaking thing, but I believe I have it set up now to be pretty okay. So like Vulcanite has a commonality of 0.07, which for steel in vanilla Rimworld for the deep ore is a whopping 4. So 400%, I guess you could say, as opposed to 7%. You know, which is a very stark difference after all. It's a little bit less so when it comes to origin, but like in-world origin, but you catch my drift, I suppose. But yeah, so around 34. So if we set it to like 30 something, might be overkill. But let's try it. So let's do actually 28. that. And then I don't want to go too overboard because you can actually dish out negative stats as well, which I haven't tried for. I didn't check up on Vulcanite, which is something we also need to do to see if it actually works in game. But now, in order for that to actually appear in game, though, we do have to check my XML files and make those changes actually happen. Otherwise, you know, having it in this XML document doesn't really change the in-game values after all. So let's see, what do we have? They have a little bit more in terms of stats, some of these things. There. Okay, this needs to be changed from 8 to what did I set it to again? 28. And the heat insulation, right? Yes. And this is 0 right now, but I'm pretty sure you can do negative at least. And then here, rounds. Was it the last one? It was the last one, okay. That one does say negative, but so I might even have missed one of those stats. That's okay. Anything else? I do believe one of these more special ores also has oh yeah, Tumblum. Let's put that a little bit higher. What was the baseline for leathers again? It was 16. So if I put it at around at 14, leathers are still better for insulation, but you can use this material instead. Anything else? So they want to have this one a little bit higher as well. Let's put that one at 10. Okay, what else do we have? Oh yeah, hydrotherium, which is supposed to be similar to cryolium, but just less so. And then luxurium should be similar to vulcanite in terms of heat insulation, but less so as well. So let's put that at 18. Okay, so before I go on, let's change those stats where they need to be. Cryolium, but Propo, hydrotherium there. So hydrotherium, we change that to a 20. Yes. And we have luxurium. Change that to a 18. Because it's like heat insulation of free doesn't really make much of an impact. So it does stuff, but it's not really something where it's enough to matter, basically. At which point it's like, okay, why even bother tweaking those stats then? Or even look for these metals in terms of their insulation. Then we need there it is. Tumblum. There. That was 14 on both now. Oh, have I not set up these stats correctly? Hold on. Did I only copy it in and was half asleep and then I forgot to actually set the settings in here? You know what? I think that is actually the case. Because I made this last night. Or early in the morning, depending on how you looked at it. I was up to like 4 a.m. Ended up getting into the habit of working on this mod. And then, yeah, kind of ended up staying up for way too long. 0.2, very light metal this is. very bad sharp resistance, but really good blunt resistance to compensate. And normally I would just do this on 2 separate monitors, but so that you can actually keep track of what's going on, I'm doing it like this. Stuff power cold. No, this is not neat. There. Yeah, these are way too high. Needs to be like lowered a bit, and then the blunt damage goes up. Next stat is commonality. I have contemplated that I should maybe outline the stats in here according to what they are like in the XML files, but when you're like looking up the things later, it's a bit easier to work with when you have them set up in a different order. Oh, sorry about that. That one snuck up on me. Deep count is 22. Lump size range is pretty high. That's one thing that is a little bit different about my ores from the base game, is that the commonality of the ores, like the rarity is pretty, like they're very rare, so they're very, well, yeah, so the numbers on that is very low, but then in order to compensate, whenever you do find them, you did get larger deposits for these resources. And that is mainly just a pure game mechanic balancing sort of approach, because I could make it so that you get very little whenever you dig it up, but the problem being that since I'm introducing so many different ores into the game, it would kind of make it borderline impossible to work with from like playing the game in terms of that, since you might get some ore once in a blue moon of the exact same type, but never enough to really do anything with it, at which point it kind of becomes pointless. Now, something I'm unsure of what does is the terrain affordance needed, because I looked it up and it's normally used in the game for like structures and such, whether like what kind of surface you need underneath in order to place something down. But I was kind of hoping that I could make the metals be like lighter in terms of their placement restrictions, so that you could say use some of the metals to be placed on more soft soil like sand, which is how I thought these stats would work, but didn't seem like changing that stat mattered in game, at least. But yeah, my hope was that I could change that stat to sort of manipulate those restrictions, and then do the same with like some of the other metals where they require heavy, because that's another thing, heavy support basically, which would be kind of interesting, because that meant normally you can't build like metal walls on certain types of terrain, or sorry, mostly I think it's noticeable with stone walls, but with those tweaks I was hoping it would kind of fix it, or yeah, allow for it. Anyways, so let me just think for a moment. Yeah, so we have our ores. I did the temperature change. Is there anything else that I want to change before we open up Rimworld? No. Don't think there is. The most important thing for me to get right early on is the acquisition of the metals. Balancing of the stats on the things can come later, because once the mod is like published and people start accumulating resources, I might actually have to change this. I don't know. Pretty sure I did add that yesterday. Tumblum, yeah, it looks correct. But yeah, once people start accumulating, mining the things, and they get like a stockpile and stuff, that's when changing of the whole way the ores work become problematic, because there are some things that you can't really change after an ore has been generated in, so to speak. So, and you'll see that in a bit. Okay, let's boot up Rimworld. It's gonna take a little while, unfortunately, because I've been testing a bunch of different mods, so my apologies about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I was going to simplify my load order last night before I stopped testing stuff, but then I did the smart move of loading a save from one of my testing environments, which broke Rimworld to the point where I had to like let's just say fix, or I had to force shut down the game because it wouldn't let me do anything. All the UI disappeared and stuff. Ah, that's some. Okay, now I remember who he is. Okay. Well, while Rimworld loads up, I can log into different places because I've nuked my cached files and stuff recently, and that kind of fucked me over. So I've been locked out of everything. Freaking cookies. Cached files and whatnot. And I've slowly been converting my passwords over to something new because it's gotten to the point where I'm one of those people that do use the same kinds of passwords for like very specific like sort of groups of things. But recently, like, you know, I have become unable to continue using those passwords, so I've gradually been switching over to like a new collection of passwords that are easy to memorize. And Streamraiders is ready. Well, I guess we can take a look at that while Rimworld loads. There we go. Let's see if this buff does us any good though. Yeah, so you break that rock and a few ants come out usually, from what I've noticed. Gotta say something though, the battle music is pretty catchy. Come on guys, you can do this. Wow. And Greg gets some musketeer scrolls on that easy gold chest. But let's move on to the next map, which gives us some giant toads to deal with. Is there anything else? Don't think so. Can't even read the text on some of these things because the fucking... I don't even remember what unit this is. I think this is the base tank or whatever, but Oh well. I haven't used the buster in forever. Let's use the range unit though. I'll trust you guys to protect me. Protect me, Squire. Okay. And Rimworld will give me a sort of a ding or a sound of a gong whenever it's ready. So nice. Someone's having like a techno party. Just gotta love that kind of music. Fucking love it. Probably because weekend? I wonder. Give me a moment. I'm gonna check up on that, where that sound is coming from, and get back to you. Oh, and I'll also use the opportunity to get a drink, so be a moment. Oh my god. It's a techno party over in the park. What kind of live music, huh? I love it. Well, that's gonna be my life for the next hour or so. Oh well, nothing you can do about that. You just gotta cope. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. It's like whoever sort of complains about noise from your neighbors around this place have like bigger problems, at least during the summer periods. Okay, well, while Rimworld loads, why don't we actually go and take a look at the workshop? Whoop. See if there's anything interesting. Don't think, no, Rimworld is not ready. Let's see if there's anything new on the popular thing. So this is how I look up interesting mods, basically keep up to date on everything. I go to the... Jeez, that fucking music is loud. I have not noticed that they've done any kind of sound check today whatsoever. So I'm wondering if they're just like, just fired up suckers. Don't give a fuck about noise or anything, or quality or whatever. Anyway, so I click on the see all popular items, right? Because you get this in the past week, most popular items section up here. And you can switch this over time period thing so that, say, like for Rimworld, I tend to be pretty on tabs of what mods are out there. So 1 week tends to be okay. Today is not really that great because it gives you a lot of different like this is mostly if you want pure chaos, because you know it's mostly uncurated because it's only within a day. But if you go over a week, then you get a good average enough to like find some of the more, you know, useful, interesting mods out there. And I did check mods yesterday, so there's probably not much new on here, you know, from one day to another. But it is the weekend, so you never know with modders when they're active. What does this do? Add variants to existing ideology styles, which only include the ritual music and effects. Allows for greater customization of the look and feel of your ideology. You can have a techist clad base, but with the daunting music and effects of the morbid style without overriding any furniture styles. Should allow for more some more unique combos for those that care about the ritual music and effects but don't want to dedicate style slots to apparel that clashes with their other ideology styles. Okay. Obviously, the ideal solution would be to have dummy custom styles that you can fully customize in the mod settings, allowing for 100% unique styles. That, however, requires a lot more effort in C#. Yeah, I would imagine, because you know, if there's no pre-existing framework for this kind of stuff, you kind of just have to use whatever is there and sort of just make a brute force implementation. Yeah, fucking love it. Stitch those eyes. Ugh. Replaces vanilla textures for missing eye scars with a new one. Ah, okay, so that's the vanilla one. I haven't actually worried about that. That is the sound that we're looking for. It's probably still initializing. It usually does take a little bit extra once it's done, but that's mostly like... That's how long it takes for me to load it in Rimworld with all the mods that I'm running. This might be a little bit loud, by the way. Slow that for you guys. Because I am running like a mod that replaces music. So let me just give you a little tour of what I've been working on. Because this took like forever to do. Organizing all my mods. Just ignore all the debugging stuff because I've been testing things, but I had to go through all of my mods in this list. And as you can probably tell by the slider, the active mods list is actually way longer. But yeah, after 1.3 hit, I couldn't use my mod switch mod anymore that was no longer being maintained, so I had to switch over to Dub's mod manager instead, which also wasn't updated right at the gate, so I couldn't quite use it that well for what I wanted to. Like, you couldn't change the colors of these things. But then once it did get it up and running, or once it got updated, I had to go through every single mod on this entire long list, including all my backup mods for like other things or like stuff that hasn't been updated, like World Map Beautification Project is still being updated, Dragon's Descent, which is something I kind of need for the Magic run, but we should be able to add as like an ongoing thing, or maybe as a second colony when it's ready, I don't know. But I do want to do like Dragon's Descent again, but that's not ready anyway. But yeah, I had to go through all these and like change mod color for all versions, and then assign all the colors too. And the reason why I do that is because you need a very particular load order for Rimworld. And as if you're paying attention, you might notice that the colors seem to like be relatively grouped together. So like at the top, I have like some light gray stuff. That's all core mods, or you know, game like baseline necessities, like being able to save your game better, check mod mismatches, letting unload thing in the mod manager, right? Those are essentials. All these light blue, cayenne colored ones are all medic related, because they're supposed to be very early on. Then we have a few things that are just like quality of life or some visual changes or additions, so this is all mostly hair and music. And then comes things that are sort of change Rimworld, but is mainly UI related things. So like quality colors, adding, you know, quality colors onto things of different quality, just as one example. Then we have like straight up yellow which is everything that adds new functionality beyond just UI stuff. And there's like a weird line in between these two, but they are sort of, they do have different importances in terms of what people like suggest that you do. And then after all the yellow like new like sort of game system features is a bit of a weird one, because these are largely just overhaul mods or overhaul mods that work together. So like Rimworld of Magic and Medieval Vanilla being some of them. Like this does it so that all the technologies beyond Medieval get removed from the game. Rimworld of Magic introduces magic, which is a completely different way to play the game too. But then we move into material mods, which is kind of the same as content mods. Like any mod that adds content are supposed to go after the new features or things that change gameplay. So I decide to put all the materials in the top because that means that whenever a mod loads below them, those resources are available to them. So if there's like a patch operation that doesn't get run after all the mods have been loaded, but according to where it's in the load order, then it doesn't matter because all the materials have been loaded. And here we have my ores mods that are not yet published, but they're a work in progress. So. And there are some weird things in here, like you'll see some green stuff, but I'll get to why. Well, I guess I can cover that now. It's because some mods, they need to be in certain places in the load order, but like these are mostly just visual small tweaks or changes or like replacements. So for instance, Vanilla Textures Expanded replaces mostly all the vanilla textures in the game, but Medieval Overhaul does change those textures as well. So in order for it to work, you need to load Vanilla Textures Expanded before that mod, but you also might want to load Medieval Overhaul before some other things. Anyways, all the red ones being mods that add mainly just content. And it's like a weird one. You could argue Fertile Fields adds new game systems. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to matter too much if it's up in the yellow category or in the red category. All red mods tend to be like pretty stackable, like you can add them almost anywhere in the load order. But I digress. And then after that we get into world gen stuff. So both on like the large scale planet generation, but also like discovering places on the world map. So biomes and that kind of stuff. I think I accidentally just moved some stuff around. Ooh, why does this look so weird? Oh, that's because I loaded it from a save. But from save, just Medieval Stream. There we go. Because I accidentally moved that around. And didn't pay attention to where it was in the list. After the world gen stuff, you're supposed to add in animal generations mods. And I have my storytellers down here. Mainly, I don't think they have to be down here. I think they can be wherever, probably. But there's like some just quest generation tweaks to those. And I do want them close to where the factions are, because some factions also introduce their own storytellers. And they're supposed to go down after anything that adds new creatures to the game. After the factions, I add in all the races that are additional. So they're here, including things that tweak race-related things. Then I have complex jobs. It just has to be very low in your load order because of how it works. And then there's a bunch of patches for like a bunch of different things. So like being able to make security coolers and stuff like out of different materials, or something like drug policy fix, which fixes a bug in the game that just causes like a lot of issues otherwise. That kind of stuff. And then almost finally we have everything that replaces textures in the game, whether it be vanilla or modded, goes like down here. And it's not really because you can't put it earlier, but you want to keep these as late in the list as possible, because if a mod goes in and introduces like an asset and another one of your reskin mods need to overwrite them, it's better to just have them all near the end of your load order, because it makes it easier to manage, especially when there's some overlap where one mod will like replace all the vanilla textures, but if you want, like, for instance, my stone and ore texture retexture mod, you know, this has to be loaded after that kind of stuff, because otherwise this would get overwritten. And in this case, this does overwrite the other one after all. And then lastly, in my case, I've got like all the streaming related things like toolkit and also just performance improving mods, which reminds me, this Rim 73 is very new. And it's supposed to add in a bunch of optimizations to the game, but yeah, I haven't quite gotten around to test it yet because I've just been sort of testing out my own mods and the load order and what mods to include. That's a general rundown on how I manage my mods and why it's taken me so bloody long to get back into streaming Rimworld. Because it's just not been worth dealing with. Should actually just don't ask for this again. But yeah. Okay, so we're testing these ores here, and here's my test participant called Rat. He's just a random character that spawned. Okay. And here we have like Cryolium, which has some weirdness going on because it's like got -1 hit points. But here we can see the insulation, so it has carried over into the game, right? So that is good. And to help me, I've got this database mod, which allows you to do a bunch of stuff with it. So like, for instance, if we go under, I think it's materials full list, and we go under, we could really do any material, but I believe it will still show, or maybe not. No, it might not actually show in here. It might have to be apparel materials, because there's some stats that don't apply in, you know, structures. Let's see if this has it. Base stats. Oh, here we have insulation. So if I sort by this, I can find the most insulating thing in my game, which is Elasmophyrium Wool, which is a mod that adds in something. Neuron fur is there, blue fuzz is there as well. But if we scroll down, here we go. We can see Vulcanite is not too far down on the list. And you might be thinking, well, Dragon, it has like just barely better insulation than sheep wool. True. But the main thing is that Vulcanite can be used for armor that you can make out of, you know, sheep wool. Namely like plate armor and that kind of stuff. And besides, apart from the insulation, they also have other stats. So like if we go for armor sharpness, yeah, Galatro's leather is pretty high up on the list. I wonder how far down I gotta go. I gotta go down to Penumbrite, which is my own thing. Damn, some of these things are like really high on sharpness. It's kind of ridiculous. But that's because, that's okay though, because we have to remember that, sure, Galatro's leather, again, high percentage modifier. But do keep in mind that there's a baseline sharpness resistance for the different types of armor that you can make as well. So if the baseline armor is like 2%, then, you know, the end result would be 4.5% sharpness, even though it's such a high percentage, which is important. So for heat, again, you know, Devil's Strand, pretty straightforward. I would assume it to be up there as well. And you would have to go really far down not to find any metals, I would assume, because metals don't tend to have good heat resistance in the first place when it comes to damage types. At least not in terms of percentage modifier. Ah, here we go. So this is something I needed to check. So andrium has negative 100% heat resistance. Did I set it to be that crazy? Because it's here. Heat resistance. Oh, right, because it's -1. So it is actually negative 100%. Oh shit. I think that that's like maybe a bit extreme. A bit of brain fart there too. Why did I set it that low? I believe there was a reason for it, but I can't remember why. I think it's because andrium has like a, yeah, it's like one of the if not the, yeah, it's almost the middle with the highest hit points that you can get. Penumbrite does beat it though. But was there any other reason than that? I mean, it's got a high value as well, but that's beside the point. Oh my god. Just gotta love that music. And it's like that concert or whatever is like fucking, yeah, I don't know what, art style, I guess, lies within that category of music, which is just the most obnoxious thing that you could play as a live concert in the middle of a fucking city on a Friday evening / night. I mean, it's 21 minutes past 8. So imagine people that are like, you know, have a free weekend and then they get to listen to that kind of shit. Absolutely obnoxious. Okay, so andrium. Now the good thing is that we can change the stats on these things while running the game. It just doesn't update in the game because I assume they loaded all the stats and stuff into memory or something when you start up the game. So we go to andrium here, and it is heat insulation here, 0.1. But it does tell me that you can at least put in negative resistances too. I wonder though. Place. Try place, direct thing. Style. I think that's a new one. Plate. Plate armor. This is just gonna be random material though. Oh right, I forgot. I've got the infused mod as well. Ooh, that's interesting. Like this is an excellent warm plate armor, which gives it extra hit. Ooh, this is gonna be so fucking whack. I wonder how that works with TTK now that I think about it. Because, huh. Of possibility. Whoa, what? Holy shit. 80 extra hit points. Is it? Oh wait, I think it's just hit. Calm down, dragon. I think it's just the hit points on this item though. Yeah, I was just about to say. Yeah, it's probably just on this item. Because if that had given you 80 max hit points to your pawn, that's insane. There's no way that that's the case. There's no way. We can test it though, because I don't think it would say here because it's a bit of an odd one with hit points and stuff. Well, let's try and pick that one up. Okay. Because we can like check their health tab, but I don't think there's anything else here. Oh yeah, I also have to check the medicines. Okay. I wonder if the concert is like just a guy up on scene with like a USB stick and plugging it into like a laptop or something. Probably not, but that would be funny to me. People go wild over that shit. Jesus Christ. Like, you cannot hear it, but I can just hear the reverberating bass lines go through everything. And if there's something that is very unpleasant to me personally, it's like when you have those bassy frequencies going through the air. It just nauseates me if it's like goes on for too long. And I'm not in the middle of it and like my body is acclimated to it. It's a weird thing. But yeah, okay, so I didn't want to check that hit points because I was just curious, but it doesn't seem like it matters. Anyway, now we do have some peculiar things about these ores, but we'll get to those at some other point when relevant. Let me think, is there anything else that we need to check and test? Right. Do I test that? Can I make a deep drill and just use debugging tools to like generate things? The question is where it is. But there's a lot of added in things here due to oh, here's that intersomnic casket as well. This is like crypto sleep, but for sort of medieval times. Ooh, wow, they're insect jelly and ambrosia. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be easy to make, that's for sure. But it's an interesting thing because it gives you more uses for those materials other than just mood benefits. Isn't the... no, it's under production. What am I even doing, right? Oh. I'm a dum-dum. It won't show up, of course, so... shoot. Of course it won't show up because I can't research deep drills. I can't get access to deep drills because I've got a mod that prohibits it. Whoops. Well, I guess now's the time to figure out if there's any of the mods that I think a dog said wasn't really necessary. Because this gives you dog prosthetics, but you couldn't do any of the research required with this mod, so I don't know if it has any kind of significance whatsoever. Oh well. Let's go to There, Streamraiders. Really? Every fucking time, every weekend there's an update. And it's always right as I'm either about to stream or while streaming. Ooh. Oh, okay, this is okay. At least it's not one of those where you have to manually go and install a physical update file. It did at least happen very painlessly. Those are some big toads, gotta say though. Okay, woohoo, and overheads, you get some scrolls. A little bit of progress for you guys, hopefully. So do we want the gold chest first or later? That's basically the option we get here. Yeah, you guys will have to wait. You'll get a gold chest later. I do think I have a quest to put down monks actually now that I think about it. So let's just see if I can get that done. Okay, well, back to Rimworld. So a dog said, that's where we left off. I don't know if that's relevant at all. Most of these mods are all gonna be fine though. Actually, let's load back into save because I think that's a bit easier to make some notes when you're looking at what's available, I suppose. Because I have a mod that shows me what mod different items come from, so as long as I have that as a reference point, you know, I can make a mental note of those. Okay. And if we go into God mode, well, we're already in God mode. Should be able to just spawn it in. Okay, so let me think for a second. Research, let's start there. Prosthetics. Only thing you can research here are basic prosthetics. That's EPO for you. The dog set has absolutely nothing in it. I don't know if it even does anything on its own, but it doesn't hurt to have it. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Autopsy, you get the basic one, but you can still use it at least. Obviously, medieval prosthetics is made to be working with medieval prosthetic, medieval only runs. Colony Manager doesn't have any research to it, but the Colony Manager tools do still work, so we can still make a colony management table. I think it's in here. Let's see, where is it? There, basic manager desk. So you can still use the colony manager even on like a very primitive run. That is not an issue. This means you can't have an AI do the managing for you. Roads of the Run does allow you to do stone road building. All the magic stuff should work. Obviously medieval, this is the medieval overhaul mod, which I don't really want to go into too much detail at the moment because I've never used the mod in like a playthrough yet, so I have no idea exactly what's available to you and how you need to change your playstyle. So we'll, you know, take a closer look, but what I do know is that, as you can see here, there's a cool oh, no, like apparel expanded accessories. Oh, right. Oh, that gets put in here. That's interesting. Also a little bit weird, but interesting. Hunting bow. Raid bow. Oh, the Frumbo bow from Frumbo One Weapons also gets put in here. Oh, right, because they are like unlocked. And then the wall bow. So there's like this progression here instead of like the regular way, so to speak, which also allows for like some for you to even be able to access some of the plate armor without it being industrial tech. So it's also just moved some research around. Spears, polearms, maces, like it's all been split up into categories. Basic cleavers. Oh, we'll make cleavers soon. Okay, so this is just research that exists. And swords. Falcon. Arming sword and longsword, and then just like a billion things. And this is also a longsword in here, but that's the vanilla one. Paladin's cross. Kenshi armory, yeah. And that's because I've got a lot of additional mods in here that add a bunch of more weapon variety, which I have no clue if any of them are going to be overpowered or not, but that's something time will tell. Brewing is over here. Alchemy for, and then steel. Okay. That is cool. Engineering. Basic components. Oh. Does that mean you still need components for things, but it's just like medieval components? That would be kind of interesting. There's the ballista and the trebuchet, which are the siege weapons you get access to. Get some door options, but not too many. Into Somnia, that it only unlocks that one thing. Apothecary, that's another really interesting mod that I'm curious to see what's all about, because it's about herbalism and making like healing tool things with this. As far as I remember, elixirs. So these are also consumables. Okay. Cool. Well, fitting for like a medieval magic mod. And this is all the vanilla tech that we have available to us. Wonder why the longbows are in here. Wonder why that is. Medieval madness, tools of the trade. Hold on. Medieval madness. Oh, there it was. Here. Oh, right. I remember why. It's because of all these tools. That is why. Oop, that's not what I wanted. Advanced melee weapons. Two-handed melee weapons. Crossbows. This might be a interesting problem. There's 3 crossbows here. And what about in here? So these don't unlock crossbows. But wasn't there like a... Yeah, engineering, crossbow. This also unlocks a crossbow and then subsequently an arbalest. Okay, that's cool. Wonder how the balance on this stuff is going to be, because it's like 2 separate mods. But it's fine. At least they're called siege crossbows instead of arbalest here, and just heavy crossbows. So that at least the names seem like they would be working together okay. Here we've got all the tools, which is what I was curious about. Steel hammer, construction speed, as expected. Butchery efficiency and speed, nice. Pickaxe, mining yield and speed, very good. Pitchfork for plant work speed, cipher plant work speed. Okay, they do the same? Yeah. Maybe one's more expensive and better for as a weapon than the other. Shovel, construction and plant work speed. Sickle, plant work speed. Woodcutter's axe is all the plant work speed. Wooden mallet is construction speed. If that's the case, if this is plant work speed, this is plant work speed, then you would just use the better one. There's no reason to make a woodcutter's axe if the pitchfork gives you better stats, other than for roleplay reasons, I guess. I find that a bit of a strange one. That's probably why when I usually play with my other loadout, it's just a hatchet and it gives you plant work speed and it works in both places. Anyway. Yeah, so smithing is here, which unlocks a bunch of different things, including some weapons and gear. But not an awful lot of stuff. Military pick. Here's the new breach axe. And we've got Minecraft, which is not related to the game. It just allows you to create a mine. Now there's a mine in Medieval Overhaul, but it doesn't allow you to excavate for, resources that come from other mods. So, getting stone cutting is where you unlock a lot of the castle building stuff. Calcium carbonate. Anything else in here? Segmented fabric, that is from the simple material weaves. But I wonder, does it mean we can't create metal fabrics out of other things because it's industrial tech? If that's the case, I might just end up making a local patched version that makes it medieval tech, because that seems a little bit unnecessary. Oh yeah, no comm simplify, no power comm simplify. I wonder if yeah, so this is basically like a orbital trade beacon that's unpowered, and this is like a comms station that doesn't use power. Okay. It's a bird cage. This bird has to be fed with raw food or hay every now and then, so it uses power, but like, yeah. Smith's table requires a bird cage nearby, yeah. But I don't know, Medieval Overhaul also has some stuff in that regard, I think. Yeah, we've got carrier birds there. Yeah, this does the same thing. The thing about Medieval Overhaul is that it does a lot of cool stuff, but you know, that can also be a detrimental thing when it doesn't do it as good as another mod that does only that thing. So it's like a big package with a lot of stuff where I end up having to have duplicates of some things in order to make it work the way I want it to. Which is a bit unfortunate. Especially when the Medieval Overhaul mod doesn't integrate in with a lot of other existing mods. So like, it implements its own system for processing ingots from ores, but it only affects vanilla ones, so gold, steel, silver. So as soon as you introduce other materials into the mix, those don't have to be processed, which is kind of like means that Medieval Overhaul only works in a vacuum, which is not how Rimworld modding usually works. Most mods strive towards being like cross-compatible. So here, okay, so we have the bird. I'll try and building these just to see. Okay, so this uses a component, a medieval component, okay. On the scribes table. These have to be connected, okay. Cool. And then we also have these. which work in a very similar way. It even hooks up with that bird, so I wonder if it's the same mod, just he ripped the code into his own thing. Because it's the same concept. Trade marker, except this has these trade marker beacons. Okay, so here we can call the other factions. I see. This works the exact same way. So they do the same. The only difference is that the other mod also has a wooden trade marker, which I have no idea if is needed. Is the problem. Capable of flying to designated location. This allows for blah blah blah. This doesn't have a range, so it tells me that this bird just doesn't do double work, which is what I was thinking maybe it would. But it does not. So does that mean that it does not allow for like orbital traders to come by? I have a feeling that that's the case. Unless it's like somewhere else and I just don't know about it. Because here's the carrier birds, which are unlocked with rustic furniture. But rustic furniture... Yeah... What else what do we have in here? Because I'm just trying to like filter down the amount of stuff I have to look through. Yeah, so this only allows you to talk with other factions, whereas this other version, this standalone mod, does the works in the exact same way, with almost the same exact stats, except it also has a trade marker so that you can actually sell things. That's a bummer, because that means that I do like the graphic for the medieval overhaul better than the ones here, because they're so blurry. Maybe because they were trying to fit the vanilla style or something. That's a shame. It's not the only place where there's some overlap either. Okay, combat training forked. This is something else I want to test, because this is a mod I haven't tried before, but this is like a universal training dummy. In the past I've used like a miscellaneous training mod, but the only thing I would gain from, I would gain like just archery range and a shooting dummy, but I do like the idea of pawns using their associated or assigned weapon in order to do combat training, and it seems like they do. Nice. This is what I like to see. Instead of using like a generic bow, they actually use the weapons that they are. And the version that I got shouldn't get damage from projectiles, so that's pretty cool. That's why it's the forked version, as it says. And it only implements this training dummy, which is exactly what I wanted. That's one thing. Okay, moving forward. What else is there that I need to check up on? I assume that a lot of these extra structures that come with medieval overhaul are linkable buildings for like craft stations and that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, we have a lot, by the way. Also, again, another case where the medieval overhaul does some things that other mods just do better. The mine shaft. Like, the one that it implements is kind of crap. Because this is what it allows you to do. Mine and iron ore, which is okay. Do forever. I mean, the acid looks really nice, but it's like the way it works is your pawn gets put up there and then you mine one iron ore at a time. So it happens really quickly, at least, which is one thing that I do like about it, but it only does vanilla things and things from inside its own mod. As compared to this mine from Mines Automated, which also looks pretty good in terms of visual representation. I like this idea better because it's smaller and, you know, your pawn works at the actual station. This one works a little bit different. This works with a bills related system, but does allow for everything. So if I want to, say, mine some penumbrite, we go over there. It sort of creates a work order and then like an unfinished work project that has like several thousands of work left. But the mod offerer does mention that they're working towards maybe making some configuration options. Now, it's a bit deceiving here, but it does produce 320 penumbrite per work project. I do think I prefer the concept of this one over here more, where you get one at a time, but it's like way faster to do. Because this is not degeneralized work, so only Rat can work on this work project, which is a bit of an annoyance when it takes like several thousands worth of work. And you saw how fast this goes. This is at 4x game speed. It takes forever. Okay, what else is there? Oh yeah, I want to see, yeah, power obviously has nothing. Security, what's in here? Okay, we've got a ballista, which has like pretty good range. Looks really good. And then a trebuchet, which I guess is gonna be, yeah, our siege engines. Yeah, so this uses shells, but this uses stone chunks as ammunition. Then the ballista probably uses wood, that's my guess. But it's then a mounted turret. And other than that, we get ditches and stuff from other mods. Defense tower, also known as a mural tower, provides flanking fire from crossbows or other projectile weapons to a straight part of the curtain wall. I wonder how these work. Is this an automated tower? I wonder. You can uninstall it. I wonder if that, I don't know if that's because I'm in diff mode. Huh. This might actually be an automated tower, which could be very interesting. Let's try something here. Do incident. Do raid with points. Let's do a 5,000-ish points. Okay, I might have overdone it a little bit. Okay, well, I guess we can just plonk this down and see. Oh, it does shoot. Nice. How frequently, though? Fairly frequently. And it can shoot things that are next to it. Does it explode when it gets low on hit points? Probably not, but you never know. I did notice that there's no freestanding tower, though. Like, this isn't actually a freestanding tower either. It has like a connection point on the top. Bit weird, but okay. That's probably going to be pretty interesting to work with. Because if you look in here, in my walls category, I have a few different castle walls. Well, here's a steel castle tower, but this is not a turreted one, I guess. This is just a regular old tower. This is a wall. And the reason why I have different ones is because they work differently. So this is just a straight, almost vanilla, like very vanilla, it's just castle, and you can build embrasure versions of this, so you can put your own pawns in, and they would basically fill out the role of this automated turret up here. This other one though is a bit peculiar because these walls are not one by one. You can rotate them, but they have like they take up more space, as you can see. So if I want to do like a corner, I need to use a corner piece, because otherwise the things don't align. And I read that on the description, but that's just how it is. They all take up like a certain amount of space, and it's like kind of weird, but I do want to try this out though. So if you want to do a castle gate, which this also has, I think that's where it's supposed to go. Oh, that's gonna require some getting used to. Huh. But yeah, what I wanted to check is the hit points on these suckers. So 2,000 hit points. Yes, they are more sturdy than the ones from the Fortifications Medieval Wall, but they do take up more space as like a sort of compensation, I guess. If I go out of God mode, yeah, it's because I'm in God mode, it's a bit hard to place. Because I'm in God mode, I can just replace things by putting things on top of everything. Rotations are a little bit funky. We can also make these wider wall pieces. And there's even an embrasure version? How does that work? Probably the same with the others. 60% cover effectiveness. They take up more space, but they don't have more hit points. It's probably okay. Then we can do these towers, I guess. If I tear that down, I could go into security. Here, granite. Like so, like this. This is going to be interesting. And what else do we have? We have got these. Oh, okay, so it does add in its own prison doors. Yeah, okay. Because I don't need the ones from Doors Expanded, but Doors Expanded was required by another mod to even function, so I don't really have a choice. But I want to try out some things here. That is a Bananite prison door. And I need to compare that with a wooden prison door. And a steel, I guess. And let's also do a, what else? Limestone. Because I need to check up the opening speeds on these. So this is 1.5 seconds. Stone is slow. 0.75 for steel. 0.47 for wooden prison door. And 0.43 for Bananite. Because Bananite is supposed to be like better as like a metal solution for a prison door, or as a door solution, but lower hit points than steel but higher than wood. So it's like a better door opening speed at the cost of the metal being harder to acquire, instead of being like more vulnerable. Which is gonna be a bit of an interesting situation with TCK, because people can just buy stuff. Oh, right. Windows. I need to check this mod. Yes. Okay, so now you can make like wooden, sorry, stony windows with this. Okay. That's cool. It also means there's like less window, I don't know if you can call it options. Because there's the same amount of options, but there's only like one type of window. Because in the original Open the Windows mod, there was like one for like a reinforced window type, which I believe had a higher baseline value for its hit points, but then also allowed you to build it out of like only metals. So okay, penumbrite, much more durable. This is one of my modded materials. Yeah. One thing that's going to be a bit funky though is that the fortifications medieval walls can be only built out of stone, while the ones out of these castle walls can also be made out of metal, and I don't agree with that necessarily. Because although it allows you to do more colors, these walls are also going to be super strong, which is kind of OP. But then again, how expensive even is this? Okay, 100 penumbrite. I think that's fine. These walls are so expensive that I don't think I would want to use like expensive metals on them in the first place. At least not in a regular playthrough. So I think the balance sort of checks out. Got like a lone archer up there that's gonna get his ass kicked. Okie dokes. And Callie gets 25 gold coins. Alright. Don't think I've seen them in chat ever before, but that's cool. That's random for you. That's how you get ants. There's not a lot of variety to these maps, are there? Oh. Centurion time, I guess. I think this is like the same map that we did at the beginning of the stream. What the heck? Oh well. So, what else? There's the palisade walls, which you can hardly see. But yeah, this is another thing I don't like about the when modders do. Medieval Overhaul adds in its own trees, which is supposed to be like, I guess, medieval / fantasy themed. So you get elven wood, ancient wood, which is cool because these are some pretty cool like color schemes. Enchanted, and I think there's more, isn't there? Maybe not. It has its own bone walls, but those are like kind of weak. Kind of just like regular wooden walls. But yeah, enchanted palisade walls, 500 hit points. Like, why? Ancient palisade walls, 1,000 hit points. Why? Just why are you making the stats so crazy? Like, modders out there, come on guys. It doesn't have to be like insane percentages. And the reason why I noticed that is because I used this. You go into Woody and you go into, like, it's not just that. It's like, look at the market value of this stuff. 10 silver for good reason. Because it's got 2,000 beauty factor. 2,000. For reference, where do we have regular wooden planks even? That's down here. That's called mixed lumber. It's down all the way down to 60% beauty factor. 2,000. Way more than like 20 times that of baseline wood. I get it for Cecropia, that's like only acquired from certain, I mean those are, you know, certain biomes and stuff. 2,000, that's insane. But that's not what I wanted to look at. So we gotta go into full list and then maybe there we can see it under Woody. So it should give me more stats, right? Hey, here's the door opening speed as well. That's not what we're interested in. There, max hit point factor. 200% for ancient wood. 200%. Again, mixed lumber down here, 40%. So it's like over four times as strong as like regular wooden stuffs. And the thing with Rimworld is that when stuff gets damaged, it doesn't cost you resources to rebuild or repair it. It just takes time and work effort. Now for comparison, if you go into stone and try and find the same stat, their max, like they're the strongest stone that I can get, and that's even a modded thing, obsidian blocks, is less than what that sort of wood type gives you. And this is a non-renewable resource if you don't count in the fact that we have mines to do it. So I've contemplated going in and doing like my own patch to tone down the crazy ass stats on that mod, because those logs are just way too crazy. Let's look at metals. So what do we have? Max hit points here. So the strongest metal I have is andrium, which is super rare and also like a very specific like material. And it's a metal, so in comparison steel is down, no iron is here. Where's steel? Why is it that? Yeah. Why is steel not up here? Why is steel all the way? Oh, it's because it's all 100. All 100%. My bad. But you know, even like this ancient palisade wall is twice as strong as a steel wall would be. So for those palisade walls it doesn't really matter, but it gets more interesting when we just make regular walls. So what was it? Was it enchanted? So these have the same hit points. It's kind of crazy for a wooden wall. Oh yeah, it was ancient, wasn't it? As this ancient wall has like twice the hit points of a regular steel wall, which just doesn't make any sense. Sure, it's fucking... Actually, it's not even that flammable. Vanilla steel is way more flammable, or almost as flammable as that, and this might even have been changed through mods. But still. Hit points. Crazy. Crazy! And just for good measure's sake, vanilla, Rimworld's best stone is granite, and I believe we just looked up obsidian being the best modded one. I thought it would actually be Lursolite, because that's usually what it is, but yeah, clearly not. So this ancient wall is even stronger than granite and even the obsidian, which is kind of crazy. I wish that just wasn't in the game, but you know, it does require to have those trees generate, so I might not have to worry about it whatsoever. Anyways, let's... Oh yeah, forget that we're in like fight music because freaking raid. Anything else that I want to check out while we're here? Finding what seems to work. Oh yeah, temperature. Right. So what do we have here? Cooks meals and produces heat as with all heat sources. Okay, that's like a campfire. It's okay. Ammonia based cooler. Unpowered cooler that works by water evaporation. This cooler uses ammonia-treated charcoal to improve on evaporation rates. Slightly more smelly as a result. Okay. And this is the regular one we have. Okay, so we can make vents eventually. Eventually. But we can also make these frost shots. It's like a pretty cool mod. Yeah, this requires some funky materials though, but it's intended to work as a thing that you can use to cool down rooms in a fantasy setting modded playthrough. I have no idea how many you need or how strong they are, which is why I wanted to give them a go. Let's try making like a decently sized cooler space room. Put down some floors. Doesn't really matter. This is good enough. And let's just put steel roofing over it just because it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see. Temperature does seem to be going down. Type of crystal that are said to have originated on frost worlds, but to have been manufactured by alchemical scholars while not cool enough to be deadly. These frost shards are cold enough to keep items refrigerated. Refrigerated or frozen? There's a difference. I wonder how low they go. Let's see. It does seem to continue dropping though. Oh right, they did destroy the tower. Whatever. I know I'm just testing mods, but okay, those towers can be pretty strong if you have a lot of them. What do you even need to make them? Just resources. Okay. Well, obviously just resources, but just like steel, just one resource type. That might be a bit broken. Does it say... rearm cost steel ingots. Ooh, yeah, okay, that's pretty expensive. That is very expensive. Okay, so -4 degrees I think is probably the target temperature. That's pretty cool, so these work wonders. Awesome. So recreation, yeah, okay, so we do get a lot of different options because we also have board games still. That's good. Terraforming, yeah, that's another thing I needed to double check. Yeah, because you get farming here. And the main research. What about terraforming? Because this is like fertile field stuff. Don't see terraforming in here. Okay. Can't remember if stone cutting unlocks it then. Shouldn't do. Fairly certain that fertile fields requires you to research something called terraforming. Here's another warbow. That might be a problem. Yeah, I don't see terraforming in here at least. Has it been moved into vanilla expanded? No. Obviously not jewelry. Don't expect it to be in apothecary either. What about medieval? Has terraforming been touched by this mod at all? Don't think so. Doesn't seem like it at least. Okay. Oh, does this not require research anymore? Is that just a farming thing? I wonder if that's because of the mod that limits my research. Maybe it patches it. Because sure enough, we can even do tilled soil, so that's good. Because I do like me some terraforming. And then the miscellaneous just has a bunch of stuff in it. Standard furniture, sure. Furniture still has like some dark torch. Yeah, okay. Well, this looks okay. Then the rustic furniture. This is all the medieval overhaul stuff. So there's gonna be like some let's call it duplicates or similarities. Like you can have fur beds in here. But they're also added through the Vikings mod, which are very similar. The main difference is just going to be the linkables. So for the medieval run, it might make the most sense to use the ones from the medieval mod itself, I guess. Because these linkables, I assume they are linkables. I actually don't know. Now this one is definitely. This one is as well. Yeah, I do like these assets. They look really neat and fitting. Oh yeah, storage. Oh, these are storage items. Oh, okay. Well, they do also provide comfort, it says. They can store things. I wonder how much can be in these. Or if it's just like a one tile storage. Straw. Oh yeah, that. Ooh, that might be worth trying to see what happens. Because I did read that cutting down grass gives you straw. Or something to the tune of that. This is further out fields though, so I wonder if that... Oh right, it gives you hay grass, that's what it was. I think. Occasionally. Maybe. Probably has to be like fully grown. Is my guess. First thing doesn't really seem to care. That's okay though. Barrel of iron ore, of gold ore. I mean, these are cool and all, but this one only allows me to store iron ore. I have no idea how much. Oh, okay, 5 stacks. Ah. I wonder if he's using like some of the framework from the LWM storage, deep storage mod. Guess it doesn't really matter which one he use. I do like the idea of having a more visual stockpile, but you know, if I can't change their settings to fit my needs, then it'll be a no. It's cool at least to have some visual stockpile options. What's the difference between these? Oh, this is leather, this is not wood. That's the difference. Because like with LWM storage, I have the option to increase the stack sizes. This is cool. All the weapons on these and stuff. And then my fences. This is also something I've been curious about, because the vanilla fences that are introduced in the base game now are like you can jump over them. Here are these. And I kind of don't like that. To be true for all fences at least. Okay, so you can climb over these. I assume the chain link fence will not allow for that. And then there's 2 brick fences as well. I hope you really like the sound of bagpipes, it's just my jam. Guess we get a little taste of the music at least. This is another one. So, this is my new obstacle course, I hope you like it. It cannot do that one. Oh. Can we like, can you like please not be in a daze? Is there like no quick dev thing I can use to just do that? Please? Do I seriously need to spawn in a new pawn? Nope. That's fucking Breath of the Wild music. Yeah, that's Hyrule Castle music. What the? I hope that mod's not gonna give me a DMCA at some point. That would be kind of shitty. You can't jump over that. Oh. Awesome inventory, simple sidearms. I read there was something there that didn't necessarily work together. Okay, you can jump over that. Okay, so you can jump over the small fences. Cool. What about the picket fence? There's also the farm fence here, which is the modded one. Oh, you really can't jump over that picket fence? Or maybe it's because you don't want to. Oh, maybe that's the case. Just to be sure, I want to be sure that they don't have any option to like go around. The Viper's over there trying to shoot me. No, that's they're just like doing target practice. Okay. Okay. That means that the fences do what I hope they would, which is nice. So I think we're pretty good to go. Okay, that's all the stuff I think I want to do for now. Oh, one more thing, the roofing. Yeah, so we can construct that roofing, but more importantly, can we remove overhead mountain? Don't think so. Because I'm not seeing the option to... Because it's supposed to be in here, right? Yeah, removal of overhead mountain might be industrial tech, which means that... Oh wait, no, I am God mode. Because I can build steel roofs, but not remove overhead mountain, which is something I want to be able to. I think that's something that you should be able to at least. Even though I might not use it to the whole extent of removing an entire literal mountain, but yeah, it does give me an indicator on what I need to do next at least. Well, before we go and play something, let me just load, not from a save, god damn it. Testing mods. Load. This is okay. Cool. Later. I want to restart now, even though it would take no time, but there's no point. The reason why I'm changing it now is so that the next time I open the game, it won't have to load all those mods. So I can test out the remaining things, and so that I can make some screenshots for the workshop before posting the mods. Okay, so what time is it? Okay, we're doing good in time. Now the question is what to play though, Rise to Ruins or something completely different? I did kind of get into that Dwarf Romantic game, but nah, let's do Rise to Ruins. Ruins. There we go. Let's just change the stream stuff. So just give me a moment while I fix that, and then I'll be right back with you. Right. It's still going on with the music, by the way. There we go. I remember my password for restream on the second try. Oh, API connection has expired. What the fuck? Oh. Okay, restream. I will reauthorize. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why the stream kind of went like weird. Connection expired. Please remove your channel on the dashboard and connect it again. What the fuck? Okay. Well, I'm gonna quickly end the stream and restart it immediately, and then, or as soon as I can, because I need to fix this stuff.